You wake up and before your eyes even open, you feel it. That heavy pressure in your chest. The same storm waiting inside your head. Thoughts rush and fast. You are not enough. This will not work. What if everything falls apart? Different day. Same reaction. You try to push them away. They come back stronger. You try to ignore them. They get louder. You fight. You resist. And somehow, you are already exhausted before breakfast. Fear whispers. Anger burns. Anxiety tightens around your throat like a fist that will not let go. And here is the truth nobody tells you. Fighting yourself is the loneliest war you will ever fight. So you scroll, you distract, you numb, you do anything to quiet the noise. But the noise follows you, because it lives inside you. You were never meant to live like this. Trapped in your own mind. Controlled by feelings you did not choose. Reacting instead of responding. Surviving instead of truly living. But what if there is another way? What if the problem is not your thoughts, but what you were taught to do with them? What if you could face fear without being paralyzed by it? Meet anger without being consumed. Sit with anxiety without losing yourself. You can. And that is exactly what we are about to explore here on Stoicism Breath. This is not theory. This is freedom. And this is your moment. Let me ask you something honestly. How much of your life have you already lost to this inner battle? How many conversations did you miss because your mind was somewhere else replaying an argument or rehearsing a disaster that has not even happened yet? How many moments of joy slipped past you because anxiety convinced you something bad was coming? Think about yesterday, last week, last year. How much energy did you burn just trying to feel okay? How many decisions did you avoid because fear told you that you would fail? How much time have you spent angry at things you cannot change, people you cannot control, outcomes that were never in your hands to begin with? Here is what breaks my heart. Most people spend decades of their lives this way, and they never question it. They assume this is just life. They assume everyone feels trapped inside their own head. They assume overthinking is normal. They assume constant emotional chaos is the price of being human. But it is not. And somewhere deep down, you already know this. That is why you are here. That is why something inside you is refusing to accept this as your permanent reality. You have reached a turning point. Maybe it was a breakdown. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe you just woke up one morning and realized you cannot keep living at war with yourself. Whatever brought you here, you have arrived at the most important realization a human being can have. This has to change. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Because the cost of staying the same is too high. You are too young to feel this old. Too alive to feel this numb. Too capable to feel this powerless. That quiet voice inside you that says there must be more than this. That voice is right. And here is the beautiful part. You do not need to become someone else to find peace. You do not need to fix yourself, because you are not broken. You do not need to eliminate every negative thought. What you need is a new relationship with what is happening inside you. And that is where your real transformation begins. Because trying to erase every negative thought is impossible and unnecessary. What you truly need is a new way to relate to what is happening inside you. You need to understand what is actually within your control and what is not. You need to learn how to observe your emotions without letting them command your actions. You need timeless tools that have already helped millions of people navigate exactly what you are going through. You need what the Stoics knew. And that is where we go next, here on Stoicism Breath. 2,000 years ago, in ancient Rome and Greece, people were facing the same struggles you face today. They dealt with loss, betrayal, uncertainty, fear of the future, anger at injustice, crushing responsibility, and the quiet ache of anxiety. Life was not easier back then. In many ways, it was harder. But some of them discovered something powerful. They learned how to stay calm in chaos. How to stay grounded when everything around them was falling apart. How to face hardship without being destroyed by it. They were called Stoics. They were not monks hiding in the mountains. They were emperors, slaves, soldiers, and teachers. One ruled an empire during plagues and wars. Another was born into slavery and built a philosophy of inner freedom. Another advised powerful leaders and faced his own death with grace. They lived messy, complicated, dangerous lives. And yet, they uncovered a truth that changes everything. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That was written in a private journal during one of the darkest periods of history. Not for fame. Not for followers. Just as a reminder to stay sane. And here is why that matters to you right now. Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions. It is not about pretending you do not feel pain. It is not about being cold or indifferent. It is about understanding the difference between what you can control and what you cannot, and putting your energy only where it actually belongs. Think about that for a moment. Most of your suffering comes from trying to control things that were never yours to control in the first place. Other people's opinions, past mistakes, future outcomes, the weather, traffic, how someone responds to your message. You exhaust yourself trying to manage the unmanageable. But your response to all of it, that is yours. Your thoughts about what happens are yours. Your choices moving forward are yours. That is real power. It is not what happens to you. It is how you react to it. This is not positive thinking. This is not pretending everything is fine. This is something far deeper. It is taking full responsibility for the one thing you truly control. Your inner world. Your mind is the only territory you genuinely govern. And right now, fear, anger, and anxiety have staged a takeover. They are running the show. They decide how you feel, how you act, how you see your life. But you can take that power back. Not by fighting harder. Not by resisting more. By understanding the game you are actually playing and learning to play it with wisdom instead of panic. The Stoics spent their lives refining this understanding. Now it is yours. But before you can master your emotions, you must first understand what they really are. Fear, anger, anxiety. These are not your enemies. They are messengers. They are your nervous system's way of trying to protect you. Fear says danger ahead, prepare yourself. Anger says a boundary was crossed, defend what matters. Anxiety says something feels uncertain, stay alert. In the right context, these emotions are useful. If a car is speeding toward you, fear gets you out of the way. If someone hurts someone you love, anger gives you the strength to act. If you have an important deadline, a little anxiety helps you stay focused. The problem is not that you feel these emotions. The problem is that your brain is using ancient survival software in a modern world. And that is exactly what we are about to rewire together on Stoicism Breath. Your nervous system has not updated its software. It was built for a world where danger was immediate and physical. A lion in the grass. A rival tribe nearby. A cliff edge in the dark. In those moments, fear, anger, and anxiety kept you alive. But today, your brain treats a difficult email the same way it treats a predator. It reacts to social rejection like it is life or death. It floods your body with stress hormones because you are worried about something that might happen next month. Your emotions are doing their job. They are just doing it in a world they were never designed for. And this is where Stoicism Breath offers you a lifeline. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Let that sink in. Most of your fear is not about what is happening right now. It is about what might happen. Most of your anger is not about the present moment. It is about the story you are telling yourself about the present moment. Most of your anxiety is not rooted in real danger. It is rooted in uncertainty about the future. You are not fighting reality. You are fighting your thoughts about reality. And that changes everything. Because while you cannot control whether someone insults you, you can control whether you let that insult define your worth. You cannot control whether you lose your job, but you can control whether you see that loss as the end of your story or the beginning of something new. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your judgment of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. Your judgment. Your interpretation. Your story. That is where the real battle is happening. Not out there in the world. In here. Between your ears. So when fear shows up, you do not have to obey it. You can acknowledge it. Thank it for trying to protect you. Then decide whether it is offering useful information or just outdated programming. When anger rises, you do not have to be consumed by it. You can pause. Look at what triggered it. Choose a response that serves your future instead of one that damages it. When anxiety grips you, you do not have to believe everything it tells you. You can breathe. Ground yourself in the present. Remind yourself of what is actually true right now. This is the shift. From being controlled by your emotions to being aware of them. And awareness is where your power lies. Now you understand the philosophy. But knowing is not enough. You have to practice. So let us talk about what you actually do when fear, anger, or anxiety shows up at your door. Let us start with fear. Fear loves the future. It lives in the land of what if. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if everything goes wrong? The Stoics had a tool for this called premeditatio malorum. It simply means imagining the worst that could happen. Not to panic, not to spiral, but to face your fear directly and ask one honest question. What is the actual worst-case scenario here? And if it happened, could I handle it? Most of the time, the answer is yes. Seneca practiced poverty once a month. He slept on the floor, ate simple food, wore rough clothes. Why? To prove to himself that even if he lost everything, he would survive. To remove the terror of the unknown. You can do your own version. Afraid of losing your job. Imagine it happens. What would you do? Update your resume. Reach out to your network. Maybe take a path you have been avoiding. It would be hard. Yes. But would it destroy you? Probably not. Afraid of rejection. Imagine hearing no. It stings. You feel disappointed. And then what? You move forward. Try again. You learn that one person's no does not define your value. When you rehearse difficulty in your mind with calm and clarity, it loses its power to paralyze you. Fear thrives in the dark. Shine a light on it, and it shrinks. Now let us talk about anger. Anger is fast. It is a flash flood. And if you react while you are inside it, you almost always make things worse. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the consequences of anger are usually far more damaging than the causes of it. In simple terms, the damage you do while angry is often worse than whatever made you angry in the first place. And this is why the pause matters. Because that pause is where your freedom lives. So what is the strategy? Pause. That is it. Just pause. When you feel that heat rising, that impulse to lash out, to defend, to attack, stop. Take a breath. Count to 10 if you need to. Walk away from the conversation. Sleep on the angry email before you send it. Give yourself space between the trigger and your response. Because here is what anger does not want you to know. It is temporary. It rises. It peaks. Then it fades. If you can wait it out, even for a few minutes, you will see the situation more clearly. At Stoicism Breath, we remind ourselves of this simple truth every day. It is not the events themselves that disturb us. It is our judgments about those events. Someone cuts you off in traffic. That is the event. Your judgment says this person is reckless. They disrespected me. That judgment is what creates the anger. But what if you chose a different story? What if they are rushing to the hospital? What if they honestly did not see you? What if it does not matter at all, and you will forget about this in 5 minutes? You get to choose. Not always easily. Not always perfectly. But you do get to choose. And every time you pause instead of react, you are building the muscle of self-control. You are proving to yourself that you are not a slave to your emotions. You are free. Now let us talk about anxiety. Anxiety is tricky because it disguises itself as preparation. It whispers, "I am just trying to keep you safe. I am helping you plan ahead." But really, anxiety is just fear stretched across time. And the antidote to anxiety has always been the same. Come back to now. Right now, in this very moment, ask yourself, are you okay? Are you breathing? Are you safe? Is there an actual emergency happening right now? Most of the time, the answer is no. Anxiety lives in the gap between this moment and some imagined future. It wants you to solve problems that do not exist yet, and many that never will. So confine yourself to the present. Not because the future does not matter, but because the future is not here. You cannot control it. You cannot fix it. All you can do is show up fully for this moment, and trust that when the future arrives, you will handle it then. So when anxiety grabs you, ground yourself. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice 5 things you can see. Listen to the sounds around you. Take 3 slow breaths. You are not avoiding the future. You are simply refusing to let it steal the only moment you actually have. This is where your power is. Not in controlling tomorrow. In choosing how you show up today. Facing fear with preparation. Transforming anger with a pause. Dissolving anxiety by returning to now. These are not quick fixes. They are skills. And like any skill, they grow stronger with practice. The Stoic path does not promise a life without negative emotions. It promises a life where those emotions do not run the show. And that changes everything. Or maybe nothing. Your circumstances might stay the same. Difficult people will still be difficult. The future will still be uncertain. Challenges will still exist. But you will be different. You stop waiting for the world to give you permission to feel okay. You stop needing everything to be perfect before you can feel peace. You stop believing your happiness depends on controlling things that were never yours to control. You realize that freedom does not come from changing the world. It comes from mastering yourself. This is the message of Stoicism Breath. And this is where your real power begins. This is not about changing your external reality. It is about changing your relationship with it. And there comes a moment. You will recognize it when it happens. You are in the middle of a situation that once would have destroyed you. But this time, something feels different. You notice space. Space between what happens and how you respond. Space between a thought and the belief you attach to it. Space between a feeling and the action that usually follows. And inside that space, that is where you live now. Not controlled by impulse. Not enslaved by emotion. not thrown around by every change in circumstance. You feel steady, grounded, awake. At Stoicism Breath, this is the moment we practice for. You start to notice that thoughts still come. Fear still whispers. Anger still flares. Anxiety still tries to pull you into tomorrow. But now you see them for what they really are. Just whether passing through you. You do not have to fight the storm. You do not have to stop the rain. You only have to remember this. You are not in the storm. You are the sky that holds it. The Stoics called this apatheia. Not apathy. Not emotional numbness. Freedom from being dominated by destructive emotions. It does not mean you stop feeling. It means you stop being controlled by what you feel. You become the observer, not the victim. And from that place, something powerful happens. You begin to respond to life with wisdom instead of panic, with clarity instead of chaos, with strength instead of surrender. This is what waits on the other side of practice. Not perfection. Not constant happiness. Not a life without pain. But a life where you are in charge of your inner world. And that changes absolutely everything. So where do you go from here? You practice. Every single day. Life will give you chances. Someone will frustrate you. There is your chance to pause before reacting. Something uncertain will appear ahead. There is your chance to stay present instead of catastrophizing. A thought will tell you that you are not good enough. There is your chance to question it instead of believing it. This is not a one-time transformation. It is a daily commitment. You will forget. You will react. You will get swept up in emotion. That is part of being human. But each time you notice, each time you pause, each time you choose awareness over autopilot, you are building the life you actually want to live. Nothing meaningful is created overnight. Growth takes time. Just like fruit on a tree. First it blossoms. Then it bears fruit. Then it ripens. And right now, you are ripening. Every moment you choose presence over panic. Courage over avoidance. Wisdom over reaction. You are proving to yourself that you are not trapped. You never were. The prison was always in your mind. And the key. You have had it all along. So stop fighting yourself. Stop resisting what you feel. Stop believing every thought is fact. Start observing. Start choosing. Start living like the sovereign of your own inner kingdom. Because that is exactly who you are. Fear does not own you. Anger does not own you. Anxiety does not own you. You own them. Now go live like it. If you are done letting fear, anger, and anxiety run your life, Leave a comment below saying I own my mind. And make sure you subscribe to Stoicism Breath and turn on notifications. This is just the beginning of your transformation into someone nothing can shake. Thank you for being here.